Okay, are we live? I think we are. Okay, so g'day everyone who is tuning in for this very first 100 Things Fireside chat. The whole idea here is that we are taking popular items, or certainly topics, from goals that are on people's lists, and we're going to bring on somebody who's a bit of a guru in that space, and we're going to talk to them about how they made it, how they ventured, how they dealt with success, how they became resilient, all the questions, so that you can not only ask questions yourself and be inspired and motivated, but also learn tools so that you can leave and apply everything you've learned to your own goals. So this week, or this month I should say, these firesides are happening monthly, is the music edition. And I've got a very good friend of mine, Ed, stage name EJ Worland, coming in. I'm going to tune into him in 2 seconds, who's going to talk about his career. Currently in LA, I met him working on the beaches in Sydney, teaching young kids how to surf, which was an awesome job, and we, funnily enough, have both ended up in LA. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Ed. And Ed, are you there, buddy?
I am here.
Hello, mate. How you going?
Good. How are you?
Mate, I'm fantastic. Thank you so much for being brave enough to do the first fireside. You can hear me? Everything's all right?
Everything's perfect. Thank you for having me, brother. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. So I guess just to explain to people who are watching how we know each other, we used to... I mean, tell me if I'm kind of wrong here, but we used to work together on the beach at Manly in Sydney teaching kids surf awareness and safety, right?
We did. Surf education, that's right. Many years ago. I couldn't tell you how many years ago it was now, but...
it's great.
Yeah, it was,
It's brilliant. And it's odd how we're both now in LA. And I guess the first question is, you're a musician, you're a successful musician, you're out there producing music and making and writing songs, and I guess that story to getting to where you are now is really interesting, and I want to duck into that a little bit.
Sure.
I guess when we first met, and I'm assuming it was like 15 years ago, when we were on the beaches in Manly, were you playing music back then?
It's probably closer to 10 years ago.
Right.
Just I don't want to show my age too much here. Sure. No, I'm just joking. I've been playing music professionally since I was 20. Yeah, so 12 years now.
Okay.
So, yes, we would have been... Yeah, I would have been playing back then for sure.
Okay. And I want to let you know that Robin Worland is watching. She's telling me that the family are watching you. I don't think you can see that comment, but your family's here.
Hi, Mum.
How great.
Hi, Sam.
So look, you're a musician. People probably want to know what you sound like. And I mean, okay, just to give a bit more context, I used to see Ed in Manly playing at all the local bars, like little live events, and I have always just loved your music. So, mate, would you be able to just open up with a song, a song of any type that you want to play?
I'd love to. Yep. I'll play this, the first single off this EP that I've just created last year. And I put this out in November last year. It's called Drown in You. I'll get it going. You get that alright?
Yeah, sounds good.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3, Used to be lonely, and it was something that I know that I chose to do. Met you on a Sunday, and I knew that I had to be with you. Drive up to the Bower, and you're pushing your body close to mine. No matter the hour, just as long as you're on top, we'll be just fine. Well, I'm consumed by this. Go from my hometown, yeah. Already sweat down. Love that I found by you. Found it all broke down. And I'm on my back now, yeah. Whispered in my ear, I wanna drown in you too. Now I've just been running. Now I got you running back and forth in my mind. Well, I'm consumed by this. Go for my hometown, yeah. They sweat down. I know that I'm drowned by you. I'm a all broke down. Hands on my back now, yeah. It's really my ear. I wanna drown in you. Sick of sitting in darkness. Just flame while I just wanna hold it. Why don't you take my hand, darling? I give you everything you need. The love that we got for rolling. Won't you just keep me going? Why don't you take my hand, darling? I give you everything you need, yeah. Oh, well, I'm consumed by this girl from my hometown. I'm covered in sweat now. I'm drowned by you. Coming up or down. Your hands on my back now. You whisper in my ear. I wanna drown in you. Well, I'm consumed by this girl from my hometown. I'm covered in sweat now. I love that I'm drowned by you. Woo!
Nice. That's sick. What's that called?
There you go.
What's that one called, buddy?
You're alright?
You can hear me all right?
I can hear you.
Mate, that was great. Thank you so much. What was that called again?
A song's called Drown in You.
Love it. Love it. So look, basically these firesides are to hear you, to understand your story, but also for people watching, to learn, to kind of learn the ways in which you've progressed, forward with your musical goals, because a lot of people do. So just quickly, to anyone who is watching and you might have some goals on your list which are music related, whether it be learn an instrument, which is a very popular one, to write a song, to perform, to start a band, to do whatever it is, ask questions if you'd like, but we're going to go through a bit of a process. So I'll start, Ed, with just like a couple of questions for you, if you don't mind, and answer these any way you'd like. But I would love to know the first instrument you learnt. I'd love to know the first song that you wrote yourself. I would love to hear about your first performance. And then also, I guess, that moment where you just realised, or you were comfortable to say, hey, I'm a musician. Because that's something we all, a lot of people dream of, to be able to say, I'm here, I'm doing it. And that whole process. So do what you want with those questions.
So the first one was first instrument?
First instrument.
Yeah. First instrument was the piano. My parents love music, and I have a brother and a sister, and we all started on the piano, which is I'm very thankful for that to this day, because the keyboard itself is something you really want to be able to visualize when playing music, I guess.
Uh-huh.
And so, like, we had lessons, once a week after school or whatever. I did that, as well as bass guitar, and I think that started around the same time. I was probably 10 years old to get into the sort of school bands. And the first instrument I really wanted to play was the saxophone, because my brother played it, and I was like, that thing is the coolest instrument. I want to play that thing. And to audition for the school band, for whatever reason, I think I was last in the auditioning process, and I could play the saxophone. I could figure out how to actually get a note out of the thing.
Uh-huh.
And the guy, the music instructor, whoever was selecting these, people to play instruments, was like, you can play a note, which is really great, but we really need a bass guitarist. And I was like, I want to play the saxophone,
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so they chucked me on the bass guitar, and I'm just very thankful for that, because from that moment, there's always been some moment where you needed a bass guitar player, or it's kind of like, learning. And I learned a lot more about the bass than in terms of bass as in as an instrument, but also bass throughout all music.
Yeah,
it's like the background, it's like a drum. It's like having a drummer without a spine in it. So the bass played a major role in in learning music for sure. So piano was my first instrument. I didn't really come back to it until I was a bit later. Like I went from classical sort of piano lessons to jazz-based, modern jazz sort of stuff when I was about 16, and then I don't know. I actually really enjoyed playing as soon as I stopped the lessons.
Right, really.
You know, like, yeah.
So were you encouraged? It sounds like you came from a house of music, so there were instruments there. You probably got put into the lesson, so you just naturally went down that road, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like the music side of things, music played a major part in our family's life for sure. We grew up going to church and all that sort of stuff as well. So there was always a church service to play guitar, or bass, or sing, or whatever. So yeah, we were surrounded by it for sure. So
I got a question. So I play guitar, not anything like you, by the way, but I didn't sort of come from a place where there were instruments everywhere. So this is way before I had a list or anything. 100 things. And I remember having to proactively go out there and get a guitar, and then I didn't know what to do. Like I Googled chords and I learned a G, a D, and a C. I didn't have a teacher or anything. And it's interesting. And I don't know what the question quite is yet, but it's interesting how some people naturally are led down that path through having a house full of instruments and parents who love music as well. What would you say for anyone who's watching who wants to simply learn a guitar, which is such a popular one, right? Or learn how to sing, doesn't have an environment around them where it's sort of conducive and natural to promoting that. What have you seen? How can people address that?
I guess, if you have an interest in anything, you should just buy a cheap guitar. YouTube is a step away, just a couple of clicks away. You can learn a lot from that. I got a lot out of growing up and learning from one-on-one with a person, because there's something a little bit more, you form a relationship, it's kind of, and it's inbound in your music as well. I think there's many steps you can take. I teach a bit of guitar and have for a couple of years, and what people mainly want to do is just sit down and they want to be able to play a song, around the campfire once a year at New Year's Eve or whatever it is. But then they find out and they get really addicted to it, and they kind of evolve. So I guess you have to start at the beginning, which is learning what that thing is. That's a string, and this thing it's a bridge, and that's a neck, and all those sort of things. And starting literally from the beginning, because there's really no point in trying to skip to I want to be able to play, knocking on heaven's door or anything.
So when did you go from then learning? It sounds again like it was natural. You were in a church band or something like that, and you were playing. You were getting one-on-one tuition, and then when did you go? Okay, I'm ready to write a song.
Oh, the writing a song thing came years later. I think I was infatuated by singing it, and I never had the sort of guts to give it a go. But I used to, again, it did start from church, and it was in watching my sister. She led worship, so I would play, some guitar, and I was I really love singing. I've always loved singing, but didn't have the nerve. And I think I was at that age of, you go through puberty and you raise your voice a little bit, and the thing cracks. So the last thing you do is give singing a go. It took a long time to get to writing a song. I think I was 15. So just a bit of backstory on it. I played piano, then guitar, piano, bass guitar, and I always wanted to play the 6-string guitar. Right. So I remember the first guitar I got, I think I was around the same age as a similar time when I started playing bass. I was about 10 years old, and it was a nylon string guitar, and I had this memory of it being in our house back in the Northern Beaches in Sydney. And I remember playing that thing and getting infatuated, and quickly going on to getting an electric guitar and playing that. Yeah. Because I wanted to be able to play every guitar solo, and I don't know. It kind of led, each instrument kind of fed themselves, I guess. Okay. But then the songwriting thing, it happened. When I was about 15, I had a girlfriend at the time, or a girl I wanted to go out with. No, we were going out, I think. I was about 15, and I wanted to, I was like, how can I just seal the deal here? How can I get this done? So I thought I'd give the songwriting thing a go, and yeah.
Do you remember any of that song? I mean, it's obvious that I'd love to hear.
I was worried you're going to ask that question. I think I could probably punch out a chorus.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Or a chorus. It's like this is like, I can't believe I'm putting this on the internet. But
who's it for?
It was a girlfriend. Her name was Bree, but her last name was King, so he's called her Kingy.
Right, Kingy. It's romantic.
I can't believe I'm doing this.
All right.
Only for you, mate. Okay. Today I was worried you're going to ask this question. I was like, how can I find it?
So this is for Kingy.
I think here we go. So it's like the chorus. This is a song about you. This is a song about me. This is a song about everything I love about Kingy. What I should have gone. This is a song about you. This is a song about me. Yeah.
I love
it. About everything I love about Kingy. Yeah. Done a bit of Nickelback on it, made it a bit more edgy.
What happened to Kingy, out of interest?
Oh, it lasted about 3 months.
That's good. That's long. Hey, so okay, I'll be open with you. So last night I was thinking about this Fireside, right? And I was listening to music, and I was like, I thought I'll just play some songs, and I ended up playing some songs. And compared to the people I was listening to on the Spotify, I'm awful.
Yeah.
And I was really self-conscious, and I got frustrated, and I had this inner critic going, "You're not good enough," and I stopped. I put my guitar down, and I went and did something else. So within that, and I'm disappointed to say that happened, but it's true. So as people are learning, let's just say it's learning guitar, or trying to write their first song about Kingy, or not Kingy, obviously that's your girl, or was your girl, or whatever it might be. I guess there's always going to be hurdles and challenges, and you're going to get frustrated. And how did you keep on going? So going a little bit down the track from, yes, we've learned music at this point, and now you're trying to write songs and kind of forge maybe an early career. What resistance did you get from either people or events, and how did you deal with it? How did you overcome frustration?
Oh, for sure. Big question. Because I'm looking at sort of the last 10 years and the amount of, I guess, hurdles that you come across. Look, when you start as well, you hear about the there's stories about, it's so hard to survive, and as a struggling artist and all that sort of stuff. And I guess it's true in some ways, but it's also about how you apply yourself as well. I guess the resilience thing and being able to press on is the reason. You got to come back to that reason of why you're actually doing it. Which for a long time I was very clouded. I was like, this is the only thing I can do. This is the only thing I can do, so I've just got to do it, which is not necessarily true. The reason you do it is because of that first, feeling you get from when you play a song from top to bottom. I often, like you're talking about with learning guitar, and you're like, I can't do it the way that these guys are doing it, just going to put the thing down. I've had a similar thing in terms of actually production and writing of music and recording, and it's I've only recently got into it in the last few years, but after playing music for 20 years and then coming to this new world of actually trying to capture what you're playing, it's really frustrating because you're recording it and you're performing it the way that you think it would be, and then you listen back, you're like, what the hell? And there's a lot of subtle tricks that you wouldn't know unless you were with someone that's done it for a long time.
Yeah.
So I guess, I guess in turn, you just got to come back to the feeling of why you're doing it, and if you're enjoying it or not. Are you having fun with it? When I first got here to LA, this is kind of fast forwarding the story a bit, but when I got here in September last year, I made this EP that I was really happy with, and shared it around with some friends and people involved with it, and getting to the next step of putting it out. And it was stressing me out so much because I was like, I really love this thing, and I wanted to get the most exposure that it can get. But I just had no idea how to do it because it's been a few years since I put music out. And a really good friend of mine asked me, he's like, you having fun with this? And I was like, And it's a bit of a cliche, but it's there for a reason. Are you having fun with it? And I was like, no, I'm hating it because I know this thing needs more than I can give it. And he's like, well, what have you got at this period of time? You know, you got to use what you've got and enjoy it. It was a bit of a slap in the face. It was a realization.
Yeah.
But it helps. Like I've got these 6 songs I'm really happy with. There's people that have been. I've been lucky enough to have been sort of listening to what I've been doing for the last few years, and I start with them, you know, give it with them, and really, this is all new as well. Like in terms of, like I was flattered that you consider me successful, and I really appreciate it. And it's kind of it's really made me realise that I have to appreciate everything that I've got at this point in time, because a lot of people don't, you know.
Completely. I feel like that comparison thing, you hear that a lot, right? Don't compare yourself, and you shouldn't. You know, fundamentally, you should be doing it even if no one ever hears you, or no one ever sees you dance, or no one ever, you know, it's just that applies to everything, I think. So, I mean, there's a song that I remember hearing you play in Sydney a long time ago, and it was Wicked Game by Chris Isaac, and so I was like, oh, I'm going to play like Ed does. And I try and play it every now and then. And I stop kind of halfway, and I shouldn't. I'm going to push on and sing the whole thing. Would you? Do you still play that?
I do still play that song, mate. I've played that song for a very long time, and I love to play it for you.
Mate, all right, it's all yours. Yeah, let's hear it. This is special. I'm so stoked.
Yeah, cool. Well, this one's for you, mate. This one's for you. I wish I said I could have written a song. It's a beautiful song.
Even that sounds good when you do that.
Tuning. I should have. This guitar's struggling. It's been hot here, so it goes out of tune a little bit. Here we go. Was on fire, no one could save me but you. Strange what his eyes makes foolish people do. I've never been I need somebody like you. I've never been I do somebody like you. But I wanna fall in love. But I wanna fall in love with you. With you. Play to make me feel this way. What do you think to do to make me dream of you? What do you think to say to make me feel this way? What do you think to do to make me dream of you? Wanna fall in love. I wanna fall in love. I wanna fall in love. Yeah. Wanna fall in love. What a wicked game play to make me feel this way. What a wicked thing to do, to make me dream of you. What a wicked thing to say that way, to make me feel this way. What a wicked thing to do, to make me dream of you. And I wanna fall in love. And I wanna fall in love. I wanna fall in love. But I fall in love with you. The world is on fire. I want to save me where you.
Oh, brother, that is unbelievable. That is my favourite cover ever. Honest, I think you're so talented, man.
Thank you, brother.
Wow, so
I
good.
have stuck with the lyrics a couple of times, so I apologise to all those lyric fans, but
When I play that song, it oddly doesn't sound like that. Hey, so I've got a question. So people watching, right?
the reason for that is you haven't sat in the corner of a bar for 10 years playing it.
I remember seeing you down at Donny's, at In Situ in Manly. I remember seeing you at the wine festival or whatever on the beachfront.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun, man. The food and wine festival down there was great. I spent a lot of time in Manly, where we're from originally.
Yeah.
You're from there, right?
Yeah, I'm from Avalon. I grew up in Avalon.
Yeah. So from the northern beaches to Sydney, and we're lucky enough, very lucky, there's a community down there that can actually, you can make a living as a musician and live. It's really great. It's a really good spot. Very thankful for it.
Well, mate, on that, there's two things I want to ask you. One is your voice is quite unique, right? I don't know how to express it or describe it from a musical point of view, but it's quite high. I don't know if that's falsetto or you're able to do a lot. There's a big range there or something. When did you always know you had that as an ability, as a strength, and did you lean into that, or like how did you? I mean, it's great. How does someone embrace something that they think is kind of unique to themselves? So people listening again who might have a unique voice.
For sure. I mean, everyone's got their own voice as well. You can't forget that. And you often feel you might listen to a lot of someone and end up sounding like them and articulating words like them and that sort of stuff. It took a long time for me to, and still finding it, feeling comfortable where it actually sits properly. I've always been fascinated by singers and the ability that those guys have. And I don't know, I listen to a lot of big vocal stuff, so it's sort of led into that, but it's taken a long time to now that I'm feeling really comfortable, I guess. Comfortable might not be the right word, but I'm finding it home for it, for sure. But I mean, I played in all sorts of bands as well. I played in punk bands, I played in reggae bands, I played in sort of old country rock and roll bands as well. So it's just been a lot. Throwing a lot of stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks, I guess.
So the process, even for you being a professional musician, the process is always going on. So again, people at the very first stage of going, right, I want to learn a guitar, how to play guitar, you don't have to nail it straight away. It's just an ever-evolving process, and you're never actually kind of, great, I got it, it's perfectly packaged. It's always going.
I think that's for everything. You never really nail it. And the thing about the guitar especially, and the piano and all that, is like you look at that thing and it's got so many notes, right?
Yeah.
But how do no one's mastered the thing yet. Like there's some incredible players. That's an arguable topic, but it's forever. You're forever going to be learning. It's a never ending. You'll never fully conquer it, and I think you have to accept that as a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, and to be like, so if you didn't get that song that day or whatever it is, at least there's tomorrow. You can jump in there tomorrow, and
That's great.
you know, what's cliches again? Practice makes perfect. You just got to practice the thing if you want to.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Get there.
So you say, Northern Beaches, there's a big community. It allowed you to, work solely as a musician. And of course, we find ourselves in LA now, coincidentally at the same time. So I'm assuming, and I'd love you to kind of flesh this out for me a bit, but you've just taken a big jump. You've gone, that's it. I'm going to LA. I'm going to crack this properly. Is that it in a nutshell?
Yeah. In a nutshell, sort of. I mean, a lot went into the move. It was my girlfriend came with me. I mean, we wanted to live somewhere else and try something new, and we kind of still can, and make the most of this point in time. But to be honest, originally I thought I wanted to come over here and get right into the songwriting thing as a songwriter, and using this EP that I've done as almost like a business card and being like, this is what I've done, and I'd like to do some more, but it's leaning much more into the artist side of things, which is great, like it's funny, the point where you didn't want to, sorry, someone's dinging me.
That's all right. Someone probably is watching you live and going, that's it, we want to book him. I'm assuming that's what that text is.
It's saying it's really echoey. 1 second.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Here, there's a button. That seems like a good thing I should have pressed. Is that better? Does someone, someone let us know. I pressed echo cancellation.
Oh, that should do it.
It would make sense. So the songwriting, how's that going? Have you dived into a community of songwriters?
Yeah, well, I was lucky enough a few years ago. So the move here was, yes, it was a big step. It was a long process. I wanted to come to the US for at least 10 years to pursue music, because it just, for whatever reason, I was attracted to it, and a lot of the industry's here. There's a lot of great bands here. Not to say there's not a lot of great bands in the rest of the world. There's plenty, but we just wanted to try something new for us. It might not be new for anyone else, but we wanted to give it a go. And as a songwriter, you can, from what I've seen from doing like a bunch of co-writes over the years over here, that people are living a life of songwriting. It's not. I didn't think that. To be honest, I didn't even know that existed. I thought that was an absolute myth. I was like, how do you do that? And it's not a myth. It's going to be a long road like anything else. But I wanted to. I just wanted to give it a go and try something new and not just play music all the time. Because back in Sydney, as thankful as I was for it, you do get a little burnt out when you're playing 3 to 4 nights a week and 3 hours a night, and it takes its toll after 10 years of doing it. So the big move here, it's been awesome to be honest. I loved it, but.
It must be maybe appealing to the people who are watching who might be kind of on the cusp of that they are a musician and they're like, right, how do I make this big jump? Do I commit to it fully, etc., etc.? I'm going to put a graphic that you're not going to be able to see on your screen, but I can see it on mine, and I'm going to swap into your screen so I'm off it. But basically, it says EJ Worland's fish and chip menu. Now. You sent this to me previously, right? Now, I'd love you to explain this. And I guess this is kind of on the topic of how do you balance, trying to crack it as a musician properly and also trying to be creative to still earn income. Because you can't just say, click your fingers and suddenly start making income. This is interesting. What is this?
So this fish and chip menu thing, when COVID hit, and to come over here to make money, my visa allows me to make money playing music, right? Writing music, playing music. As soon as the venue shut down, it's like, well, that just ends all hope of playing music, right? In terms of a live capacity. So I was chatting with my roommate here. Originally, I was just going to start auctioning off things. I'd be like, or setting a price and being like, I'll give you a guitar lesson for this much, or I'll write you a song for this. And my roommate here and I were having a chat, and we sort of come up with this idea of well, he came up with the idea. I can't take the creative on that because he was like, set it up as a menu, like people want to eat. Because we're talking about what I miss from home. I was like, man, I do miss fish and chips and meat pies and all that sort of stuff. He's like, sweet, we'll set up as like a menu sort of scenario. So it made it a bit more fun because it does feel weird having to turn around and really rely on your fan base and ask for help there. But you are offering us, you know,
mate, it's
offering
great.
something. I've written a handful of songs and
I'm looking at the menu. I'm looking. I mean, there's I don't know 8 different things here from chips and gravy, which is I'll sing you a song via video chat, $25, all the way through to a Dory burger, which is 30-minute guitar. So you're giving guitar lessons.
I am giving guitar lessons. I've been doing it the last month or so, and it's great. It works. This Zoom thing's unreal, you know, or Skype or whatever you're using. It definitely 100%. It definitely works.
Fisherman's platter. I'll write you a song of any topic of your choice. Also, can't guarantee it will be good, but I reckon it would be good. And that's going
it's
well.
It's funny that's turned out really good. Like that's it's been. I've wrote one for my uncle the other day, for my best mate for his birthday. Old high school friend for his girl. Like it's been awesome. The messages I've got back from that have been way more liberating than anything else. Like,
mate, that is fantastic. I mean, it's creative as well, and like you're actually giving because you shouldn't be. You know, I get it too as as someone who speaks a lot. You know, if a friend says, "Hey, can you speak for my company? Can you speak for?" You know, I feel bad talking about money, but at the end of the day, it's something that you know you need it to be able to continue. You know, delivering, right? Is there, just on the idea of songwriting, is there any tips, and I'm sure this isn't an easy answer, but what would you say to anyone on their list who is looking to write a song? Is there a simple process? What 1, 2, 3 tips could you give someone?
Simple process. I guess you could, it depends how you want to go about it. If you're a word person, if you're into lyrics, write a poem, you know? If you know a few chords on the guitar, you can be Bob Dylan in 5 minutes. No, you can't. But you can definitely, if you got words and you can, you know, I guess there's so many processes. There's so many different ways you could go about it. For me personally, I find it really easy to come up with melodies, like a chord progression and a melody really quickly.
Yeah.
But the lyric, that does take time. The lyric thing for me really often will take, you know, days, weeks, months, years, whatever.
Sure.
But in terms, I feel like if you're ready to go, like if you can play a few chords or whatever, and you're passionate about something enough, for me that's how it came together. Sorry, it's not so like you know, by the book or whatever. It does. Yeah. Personally, for revolve a lot on emotion. It has to be something that's really hitting home hard.
Sure.
To give the song real substance, I think, yeah.
Well, I kind of find, so a chord progression, from my understanding, is like a G, D, C, like three chords or more that go together, that sound right. Sure. Is that roughly it?
Yeah.
And so with that, like I've tried to write it. In fact, on my list, 78 was write and perform a song. And it was awful, but I did it.
One you did in the tree?
Hey?
Is that the one you did in the tree? On the ukulele?
No, that was, well, oddly, that was, I wrote that on a deserted island. I lived on a deserted island by myself for a week, and I took a ukulele. Yeah, super fun.
Yeah.
But that was like 3 chords. So again, not that I'm anyone to give advice, but from my understanding, the majority of songs that anyone ever hears are like 3 chords, 4 chords.
Yeah, man, look at the blues. It's all 3 chords. Oh, it's not all 3 chords, I take that back, but it's based off 3 chords generally, yeah. Well, it's like, you could write a song on 1 chord. There's plenty of great songs. There's probably a bunch of great songs that are written on 1 chord. But yeah, a chord progression isn't a number of chords put together.
Yeah.
Generally in the same key usually sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, your G, C, Ds. That's a great default every time.
It's the way you do it. So cheeky. Mate, would you be able to sing another, talking about songwriting, would you be able to play one last little song for us?
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. This one, I'm going to sing a song that's coming out in the next, it's off this EP that I've made. It's coming out in the next month or so. We just shot a video for it,
it's actually really it's weirdly spot on for this point in time and what we're talking about. It's called Over the Pond. It's about up and lifting your life and moving overseas. And I wrote it a couple of years ago now. So it's funny how it's come to fruition now, but it's called Over the Pond. Some quick drink of water.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Just straight vodka here on a Friday afternoon, Seb. No, it's not. It's water. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Weight on my chest to fix me at best. I'm taking on water. If I don't get out quick, well, I lose every beat. It's one or the other. It's time. Stick with the plan. Let go, man. I've been holding the hand that keeps pulling me back, and I'm jumping over the pond to find if it's worth it after all. Well, it kills me to know if I'm still in tomorrow. And I copy my fate. Two way, taking on water. Sinking in time. Stick with the plane, let go, man. I keep holding the hand that keeps pulling me back, and I'm jumping over the pond. Find if it's worth it after all. Well, stick with the plan, struggling. I keep telling myself everywhere that I can, and I'm jumping over the pond. Find if it's worth it after all. And I'd rather fall than fail doing nothing at all. So come on, 'cause I know it. I can't take any more. Stick with the plan and let go, man. Keep holding the hand that keeps pulling me back, and I'm jumping over the pond. Find if it's worth it after all. Yeah. Stick with the plan, let go, man. I keep telling myself every way I can, 'cause I'm jumping over the pond. Find if it's worth it after all. Yeah.
Oh, so good, mate. I love it. I love your music. Hey, as we kind of wrap this all up, right? Firstly, I want to say a big thank you. Obviously, I'll put all your details and all the bits and pieces below. But however, I want to tell you this. So last night I spoke to my mum back in Sydney, right, on the Northern Beaches still, and unfortunately she's got early on stage dementia, and she's 64, and she beautiful lady, beautiful spirit, all that stuff, and she's forgotten most things, right? And you know, that's another story. However, two things she hasn't forgotten are songs. She sings all the time, and she has the most beautiful voice, and people always comment. And the other thing that she hasn't forgotten is the regret she has in life that she never pursued music. She never pursued it, and she should have, because she was such a lovely singer, and she still is. And she told me last night, she told me, actually, did she tell me last night? Maybe it was the last time I spoke to her, but regardless, it's a common theme. She'll bring up, she won't be able to remember my name at times, but she will remember the regret she had for not pursuing music. And so for the people watching who have an item on their list, which is musically related, be it learn guitar, write a song, start a band, move to LA and pursue their dream of becoming a professional singer, what is your advice for them so they never ever have that regret later in their life that I wish I tried? What is it?
Well, you got to give it a go, I guess. Like, I mean, I've personally been fortunate enough to have people tell me to keep doing it. I guess that self-doubt thing's always going to be there, but you don't want to end up having that regret. I mean, I personally, and thank you for sharing that story, man. It's very beautiful. But I'm sorry to hear about your mum, but it's really nice that she can still hear and feel those things. I recently had a similar thing with my nan. Recently just passed away just a couple of months ago, but before that she had a stroke, and it really affected her brain, and she forgot kind of who people were. But the songs thing was incredible. She knew word for word. It was absolutely, it was like imprinted in her head. The poetry was all there, and the melodies and all that sort of stuff. It really slammed it into you. It's like music is a really powerful tool, and there's a reason why people love it. There's a reason why people get addicted to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Back to your question about it. I think it's. I'm sorry to go down that path, but it's just a weird point in time that you've just said that now, because it's touching home quite close to me now with my nan. But
I'm sorry to hear about that, man.
Yeah. No. It's, to be honest, it was a blessing. She was totally ready, and it was a beautiful send off. But I guess I personally would love to live a life without regrets. I know that's going to be really hard, but there's some things, if it's singing to you enough, you just got to give it a crack, I think. I've noticed that. I mean, especially at this point in time, you can plan everything you want in the world, and then some little bug will stop it all from happening. So I think you just got to, I don't know. Sorry to keep the cliches, but give it a go. Yeah.
No, mate, really. I don't think life is too much more complicated than that. And I think, something I've learned from my journey and learned from speaking to you is you do have to create that opportunity. And sometimes opportunities will come your way. And obviously we've been discussing a little bit leading into today what we could do to really offer a platform for people to just try and take that leap, no matter how small it is. And so we came up with this idea of an open mic night. And for those, you won't be able to see this, Ed, on your screen, but on my screen, basically the idea is on the 15th of May, we're going to have a virtual open mic night for anybody who has ever wanted to do something musical, even if it is literally perform in front of people, because this is the opportunity. Now, you don't have to be like Ed and be fantastic. You can be like me and be very, very average. In fact, I probably will play a song at the open mic night as well. If you just want to learn guitar, learn 3 chords leading up to it and play it in front of us. And Ed, I think you've agreed that you're going to be there too, right?
For sure, I'd love to be there. I mean, that's where it all began for me personally as well, is arriving at open mic nights and giving it a crack. It's like, it's a very liberating feeling. I totally encourage it. I think everyone should do it.
Fantastic.
Sure.
Mate, thank you for coming along for today. I loved your music. I loved your story. Thank you for helping the people who are listening. I'll put all the details of yours below. I'll put the details of the open mic night. Again, it will be the 15th of May, which is Friday in 2 weeks, 6 p.m. PST time. And it will just be kind of like no judging, just an open forum for people to express. And I'm going to do it too. And with that, mate, I'm gonna play. I've actually got one of your videos. I think what the name of this is it Do Better? Is this your latest music video?
Yeah. Yes, this single came out just a couple of weeks ago. But before you play that and before we go, I just want to say a huge thank you for inviting me here. What you're doing is just incredible. There needs to be more people like you, Seb. You're doing a great thing, man, and I think you should just totally keep going. What you're doing. I really appreciate you having me on.
Mate, same to you. Same to you. I'm so glad we're in the same place, pursuing dreams, different dreams, but mate, all dreams are worth pursuing, whether it's learning guitar or, starting a business or starting a family or saying it doesn't matter. But because this is musically oriented, I'm going to leave everyone with Do Better by E.J. Worland. Ed, thank you, mate. We'll be in touch. Everyone else, thanks for tuning in.
Appreciate it.
and self-emotion. You're all maintained, and I see you boasting to hide your misery, find out what you want to be. They're gonna bless me. Well, you really won't scream. You must be so sad. You want the pain. You really won't scream. You must be so sad. You want what they have. Satisfaction. You thought it's what you gave